I've run a 21-minute 5K and hit 100 kg on bench as an average dude who works a full-time desk job. And in this video, I'm going to break down how I balance running and lifting. So I've gotten my training to a point where I feel like I'm able to make progress in both without really feeling like I'm ever running out of time or energy. And I'm still able to live the rest of my life around it without feeling constantly fatigued, which I would say is pretty important. Personally, I found that there are 4 key pillars which make this not only possible, but also extremely enjoyable. And make sure to stick around for number 4 because that's probably the most important one. Pillar number 1. Finding time. I found that not many YouTubers really talk about this aspect because most of them are doing YouTube full time and they don't really have to think about when they're gonna train. But I would say for the average person like me, or I'm guessing you, who's working full time, it is crucial to be able to find time to actually train. So I'm going to sort of break down how I go about this. To be honest, it's probably a lot easier than you think it is. Firstly, you want to cut out all the distractions. So what I would say is think about what's important to you in your life, and then think about how you're actually spending your time, and then equate the two and see where you're spending time in areas that aren't really important to you. So for me, I've decided that social media is not important at all, and I've decided to completely cut it out. As a byproduct of this, I find that I have so much free time that I actually get bored if I'm not training. So that's just one example for me, but for you, think about which areas of your life are not really that important to you and that you could cut out in favor of training more. All right, second, you'll want to think about where you actually want to slot in your training sessions. For example, for me, I don't prefer to train right in the morning because this is when I'm most mentally sharp, and I prefer to do a lot of my cognitively intense work in the mornings. Because of this, I'll slot in my first training session at lunchtime in the middle of work, and then my second training session right after work. This gives me enough of a gap between the 2 training sessions while still leaving me plenty of time in the evenings to do whatever I want. You'll have to figure out what works for you, but this is worth thinking about. And just keep in mind that a new schedule will always feel a bit weird at first, but just stick with it for a little bit and you will eventually get used to it. Pillar 2. Energy. So having enough energy for your workouts and not being fatigued outside of your training is pretty important. The first obvious one for this is sleep. Just get enough of it. And a couple of quick tips that have helped me the most with sleep. Number 1, I started charging my phone outside of my room. This is a super easy change to make and has made a massive difference for the quality of sleep that I get. Number 2, I also read fiction books before I go to bed. This is a very low stimulation way to fall into sleep and get a really good quality sleep. So yeah, try and get enough good quality sleep and you'll have the energy to train. Another thing you want to focus on is using easy runs and easy lifting sessions throughout your training. This makes it a lot more sustainable and allows you to build a lot more volume without running out of energy. I'll make up approximately 80% of my running volume with easy runs, and I'll have primary lifting days and easy lifting days where I'm focusing on one exercise over another. I'll go into this in more detail in another video, but you do really want to think about mixing in easy sessions and hard sessions throughout your training. On top of this, you want to organize your weekly schedule strategically. So just make sure you're giving yourself enough of a gap between hard training sessions. You won't always get this perfect, but you just want to stack the cards in your favor as much as possible. Pillar number 3. Fuel. This does play into energy, but I did want to make a separate section for it because it is pretty important. With a high training load, you do not want to undereat. As your training increases gradually, you'll want to also increase your food intake. Try and stick to good whole foods as much as you can. If you can't here and there, that's okay, but just make sure you're getting in enough calories. Also, I would recommend to keep your meals simple and easy to prepare. So this way you're kind of avoiding decision fatigue and you're ensuring that you're not missing meals. You also want to focus on your fuel around your workouts wherever you can. So before intense training sessions or before I'm lifting, I will try and fuel before that session. And for longer runs, I'm fueling before and during the run. Here are some of my staple meals that make sure I'm getting in enough calories and all the appropriate nutrition that I need. Every morning for breakfast, I'll have 4 scrambled eggs on a slice of toast. Every afternoon, I have a bowl of yogurt with whey protein, creatine, mixed with honey and chia seeds. and then I'll top that with muesli and blueberries. Lunch and dinner are a bit more flexible. I'll have some sort of protein and carbs and try and have as much vegetables as possible. Before training sessions, it's important to get carbs in. So a go-to meal that I have is either a slice of toast or a couple of rice cakes topped with peanut butter, a banana, and some honey. I definitely feel a lot better when I eat before training rather than training fasted. Pillar number 4, know your why. As I mentioned earlier, this is probably the most important aspect, as without this, everything else I talked about earlier just falls apart. You need to personally understand why you're doing this type of training and what value it's adding to your life. At the start of your journey, this will manifest as simple goals such as completing a certain distance or hitting a certain time. But when you get beyond this point, you will have to start digging deeper to truly understand why you're doing this. Understanding your why will help you get out the door when it feels tough, and it'll keep you enjoying the process even when you feel like shit or just feel like you aren't making any progress. So I would definitely say it's worth taking out some time to understand why you're doing this and what value you're getting out of it. And this will be different for different people, but if you are interested in hearing my why behind running, then check out this video that I made on why I run over 40 kilometers per week as someone who had purely been into lifting before. And that's all I've got for today. So if you did enjoy this video, consider subscribing, and until next time, see ya.